Judge Piet Koen is considering recusing himself from the arms deal trial. He postponed the corruption case against former President Jacob Zuma and French company Thales to determine if his recusal is in the interests of justice. We're joined by legal analyst Modidima Mannya. Good evening, Ndata Mannya. A pleasure to have you with us tonight. So when one looks at then this latest spanner thrown into the works around the hearing that will now be held, or the representation that will be made to Judge Koen in terms of whether or not he should recuse himself, all one sees is delays, delays, and yet more delays.
Yes, good evening, Casey. And I think Judge Koen himself has alluded to the implications of a further delay, but naturally, the interest of justice will always take precedence.
When you look at the reasons that he has provided for why he thinks he may not be the best person to continue hearing this matter, what do you make of those?
Look, it makes sense, except that I probably had a slight different view about what should happen. You'll recall that the issues which form the subject of the private prosecution are the subject of his own judgment. Firstly, the medical note, which is the subject of these proceedings, he considered that issue, and he actually made a decision that he didn't think there was anything explicit or detailed in that note to warrant any concern, or that there was an indication of its confidentiality when it was made. Of course, the spin now is the allegation that it was obtained in a manner that is not correct. But he has dealt with that. He has dealt with the issue of whether Advocate Bill Downer should prosecute. He has dismissed all the 14 grounds. And I think from even a human point of view, I would also be tired to be hearing the same thing. But I think for the purpose of justice, the risk probably that Judge Koen sees is that he now has to be pronouncing over and over again on the same set of facts for a different course of action. My view, though, is that this aspect is not actually the heart of the trial, because the trial has not started. And the issue about whether Bill Downer should continue to be prosecuted or associated with the trial can be dealt with by another judge, and the matter go back to Judge Koen for the trial.
Do you think he's being preemptive in terms of what the future of that trial may look like? Because we know that when a trial has gotten underway and you do have, a suspect that is raising questions around the integrity of the judge, that also in and of itself delays the work of the court.
Yes, certainly. Remember, Kathy, a recusal application can be made at any stage of the proceedings. But I think we should not understand Judge Koen to be saying that he's skeptical about his own ability to dispense justice in this matter. But you must remember that the issue of justice is also an issue of a perception. And he doesn't want, as he said in his words, to compromise the integrity of the trial, and that he's got a responsibility. Now, this is a decision he takes which reflects the inherent values which judges uphold. A judge doesn't have to be told to recuse him or herself if he or she is of the view that a presence or participation in the trial may compromise its integrity. So that's where Judge Koen is coming from. Nobody has said to him, I doubt, and I don't think he's preempting anybody saying I doubt, but I think he's worried about the rulings that he has to make based on the rulings he has already made.
What does this mean for the future of this case?
Well, it means if he were to decide to recuse himself, the judge president will have to allocate another judge to hear the matter. So I think it's going to depend on the availability of a judge. And often, if there isn't a judge available, they might appoint an acting judge to hear the matter in any case.
Legal analyst Modidima Mannya will leave it there for tonight. Thank you.